Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the TNAM AM Show, the TNAM AM Show, here on the New American Media. We are broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two nations who have agreed to lots of demands to avoid tariffs. My name's Brian Engelman. Thank you for being here. And we're going to unpack the news of the day. So much is going on. It is nearly impossible to keep track of everything happening. This is an absolute blitzkrieg of activity from the Trump administration. It is the absolute antithesis of what you saw with Sleepy Joe. This is the most energized, focused, coherent, aggressive, productive 2 weeks I've ever seen in politics. Just wait until the final chess pieces are put in place. I'm still trying to figure out Congress, their job is to advise and consent, right? To advise and consent. Like they approve nominees, but like, how do they block them if their only job is to advise? I don't know. I'm trying to fully understand, like, what can you ram these people through even if they don't get the votes? Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Bobby Kennedy, these superstars in the wings. Pete Hegseth is already on it. He's with Border czar Tom Homan. I mean, they are getting to work, and I'm super excited. I am optimistic for maybe the first time in my lifetime that we might be able to fix some structural problems. What do they call them? What's that word that they like to use for racism? Not structural. Who cares? Point is, there are problems with America. What is that word I'm looking for? Not endemic, not structural. Can't think of the word. The word escapes me. But I'm done kind of speaking that language. You know, I'm not going to use the word terms far right. I'm not going to use the word insurrection. I'm not going to use these little sneaky words that predefine narratives. I'm done doing it. I'm absolutely done doing it. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching. And if you leave your comments, I will try to incorporate your comments into the show. R. McBride, morning, Brian. Great to see you on with us. I'm going to say you too. What's up? Getting Rumble comments here. We'll try to work those in. Unfortunately, our Rumble comments don't show up on this screen, but they do show up on this. I have 3 screens in front of me. One of these days, I'll show you like behind the scenes of the studio and how we put this all together. But regardless, we're here to talk about what's happening in the world, and we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to show you a few things from our Instagram feed. You should follow us on Instagram. We are the New American Media. Yeah, here's one. Welcome to the cycle. This is something I think your lib friends might want to understand. This is the cycle. And I've had conversations. Suddenly, all of the brainwashed MSNBC, CNN viewers, they are tariff experts. They're tariff experts. So here's the cycle. Give them this lesson. At the beginning, Trump wants a foreign leader to do something. So Trump announces tariffs. Then the left claims tariffs won't work this time. Then that leader caves and Trump gets what he wants. And then we're back to the beginning of Trump wanting a foreign leader to do something when he announces tariffs. And then the left claims that tariffs won't work and we're all going to pay all this extra money. And then the leader caves and Trump gets what he wants. Do you see how this works yet? Do you see it? Speaking of do you see it, did you see the Grammys? Our government should be as transparent as Kanye's wife's Grammy dress. It's a little wordy, but it's kind of funny. And I might work it into my comedy routine tonight because I have a couple of jokes about her. Also, Punxsutawney Phil. This is Punxsutawney Trump here. Looks like, who is this? Shifty Schiff holding him up? Pencil neck and pursed lips. What them lips do, boy? He holds up Trump and sees the shadow. Oh, that means 4 more years of Trump. That's 4 more years of Trump. Couple of jokes right off the bat. All right, we're going to jump into the stories of the day. Walk you through it here. Nick Sortor. Let me change the ratio. Much better. Okay, good. Nick Sortor reporting on this. J.D. Vance arrived at the site of the East Palestine, Ohio train derailment, joined by Senator Bernie Moreno. And yeah, being from Ohio, they love J.D. Vance and Bernie Moreno. And along with EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, Trump and Vance promised that they would never forget the people of East Palestine. And 2 weeks into their event, they're here. Matt Van Swole says they're hyper-focused on making sure people are not forgotten. This is amazing. Nick saying they're making that very clear, given they've also hit Western North Carolina, California, and Hurricane Helene stricken Virginia towns and more. So here's a clip from that.
We're getting there. What is much better than what is this creek here? So this is just like one of those off the run
Now there was a video where JD.
Hey guys, I need everyone to start moving this way, please.
He said, "Look what happens."
Thank you. Thank you. Pass the car, please. Thank you.
All of this chemical, oily shininess comes up because this is gross. He goes, "I can't believe they didn't clean this up." He's like, it's the railroad's responsibility to clean this up, and this isn't cleaned up. I mean, it's just, I can't tell you how nice it is to see we're leaders that actually give a shit. So nice to see some leaders that give a shit. Speaking of leaders that care, take a look at this one here. Those same people that are tariff experts. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're being so mean to your foreign neighbors. Well, when your neighbors are propping your back door open so thieves can get in and poison your pets, poison your family with fentanyl, abuse you, rape you, and kill you. Yeah, Mexico and Canada have some explaining to do why they're not guarding their border that they share with our country. I don't care about being mean to them. They have a responsibility and they haven't been doing it. All you got to do is identify a problem, address it, and say, "Hey, sweetheart." That's probably what he said to Trudeau. Hey, sweetheart. We have expectations, and if you don't meet these expectations, we're going to tariff the shit out of your stuff. That's what's happening. So here you go, breaking. I mean, what did it take? A day? 2 days? We could all see the writing on the wall. Well, not all of us. The non-brainwashed, the people that aren't locked into this Democrat propaganda bullshit campaign. We see it. We see it as clear as day. We know what's going on. It's the art of the deal. It's a negotiation. And you know what? If we do go through with tariffs, oh my God. You see Chucky Schumer smiling like a little gargoyle? Your beer comes from Mexico. Your avocado comes from Mexico. Is there a more demonic looking gargoyle creature than Chucky Schumer? Chucky 6 ways from Sunday Schumer? Compromised, traitorous little vermin, little creep. I think that might be in the stack. So I'm going to try not to talk too much. I'm going to try to get to the stories. I know it's always hard for me because I have an opinion on everything. That actually was one of the names of the show, Opinion on Everything. I settled on Agree to Disagree. Now it's the TNAM AM Show for this segment. We will be doing a Agree to Disagree show, a 45-minute super hyper-focused show with Blake Wally today at 3 p.m. Eastern. Hope you join us. Okay, so I meme, therefore I am, shared by the typical liberal and DC Drano, says, breaking, President Trump negotiated with President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico, who agreed to deploy 10,000 soldiers to the United States-Mexico border to curb fentanyl and illegal migration. While both nations will pause anticipated tariffs for a month, to negotiate a deal led by top officials. So we're 2 weeks in now. And in 2 weeks, Mexico caved, Panama caved, Colombia caved, Venezuela caved, Canada's panicking. By the way, they caved. There have been mass deportations, hostages are home, DEI programs have ended, bureaucracy has been slashed, the FBI purges are underway, USAID funding has been canceled, gender ideology is eliminated, Doge has already saved America billions of stolen dollars, 51 intelligence agents have lost their clearance, border crossings have dropped by 93%, reservoirs have filled up in California, just to name a few developments. We're going to win so much, we're going to get tired of winning. What a 2-week stretch. Bravo. And to think, Democrats in the deep state wanted to keep you from all of these wins. You don't hate them nearly enough. Donald Trump says, I just spoke with President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico. It was a very friendly conversation, wherein she agreed to immediately supply 10,000 Mexican soldiers on the border separating Mexico and the U.S. These soldiers will be specifically designated to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal migrants into our country. I can't do Trump for too long because I do the growly Trump. We further agreed to immediately pause the anticipated tariffs for 1 month period, during which we will have negotiations headed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, and high-level representatives of Mexico. I look forward to participating in those negotiations with President Sheinbaum as we attempt to achieve a deal between our two countries. Come on, folks. This is excellent. DC Drano here saying, look, Democrats keep saying no one elected Elon Musk. Yes, we did. Elon was very visible with Trump, and we elected Trump to utilize Elon in cleaning out corruption in our government. Same goes with Tulsi Gabbard, Bobby Kennedy Jr., and Kash freaking Patel. We voted for all of these people to do exactly what they're doing. Elizabeth Warren, no one elected Elon Musk. Yeah, we did. Oh, yeah, we did. Robert Kroos here. This is perfect. Says, I didn't vote for Elon Musk. Yeah? Well, I also didn't vote for the FBI, the ATF, the CIA, PBS, NPR, the FDA, the WHO, the UN, the IRS, the Federal Reserve, the EPA, or the CDC. Cry harder. God, that's a great tweet. Cat turd. I couldn't be happier with the job Trump has done so far. Better than I could have imagined. Agreed. This is Kaylee McEnany. She has a fun name. It's fun to say. McEnany. What movie is that from? Your name is, it's fun to say. Actually, what is the name? Not Ronaldo. Fun to say name. It's Francisco. That's fun to say. Francisco. That's fun to say. All right, here's Kaylee McEnany talking about Mexico and the United States. Listen, lefties.
A fact. The so-called dumbest trade war ever just produced the fastest concession in American history. And I challenge anyone to come up with a rebuttal to that. Let me also lay out a rule that it's amazing 8 years down the road people haven't learned. Maybe you don't want to bet against the guy known for the art of the deal, because we're watching it come together now. And past his prologue here. Remember President Trump said, let's think about China tariffs. The elite went nuts. There's going to be a China trade war. How dare you? How dare you? Well, let's bring up a fact. CNN headline. Here you go. Biden finalizes increase to some of Trump's China tariffs. So that seemed to work. Okay, then comes NATO spending. NATO, increase your fair share, NATO. How dare you, said the elite. Well, here you go. NATO allies now spend $50 billion more. And then finally, Mexico. This was 2019. You have this result. He threatens tariffs on AMLO. That's Lopez Obrador, the president at the time. Mexico has become Trump's wall, how AMLO became an immigration enforcer. And in that instance, they sent 6,000 troops to the northern border. Now we have 10,000 troops. And it didn't take Trump 3 years this time. It took him 3 years last time. It took him 3 weeks. And look at the results we've gotten. And by the way, out of that Mexico deal, we also got the USMCA. I'm not betting against the art of the deal. I'm going to go with the fastest concession in American history, not the dumbest.
But I think there's...
Here is...
Bravo. I think some people in your life need to get some of these wake-up calls. Some of these people are living in an alternate universe. You know, maybe there's something that could be done to wake some of these people up and ask them, please stop watching MSNBC and CNN. They're giving you one-sided stuff and it's false. It is fake news. It is divisive and destructive. Please get away from this. I want to give you an update on this Eaton fire out in Los Angeles. What's going on? You know, some attorneys are alleging this real-time video is the strongest evidence yet, suggesting that a Southern California Edison transmission tower caused at least one of these fires.
Decades of experience litigating dozens of wildfires, they say their experts used cutting-edge technology, including photogrammetry, a technique that uses photos to create 3D models, to reenact the Eaton fire, zero in on its ignition source, and conclude the cause is clear. They say the Eaton fire started from SoCal Edison's faulty transformer tower, specifically tower number 3.
Jeez. Actually, wasn't tower number 3? Which was the one on 9/11? Tower 3? Yeah. Why did the 47-story, 186-meter-high building that was not hit by any plane collapse in 6.5 seconds and implode inward? Why was there a third tower? There were only 2 planes. What happened there? Okay. Yeah, Tower 3. What about the third building? Anyway, yeah, I shudder to think at how faulty, aging, and dangerous some of our infrastructure is, our critical infrastructure. Instead of sending condoms to Hamas or teaching divisive, racist, illegal DEI stuff to foreign nations, I think maybe we should invest some of that money into rebuilding our infrastructure, including railways to keep East Palestine from happening again, and maybe California transmission towers so that they aren't faulty, having enough people to inspect them and replace them. Also to EMP-proof the world, at least the United States, so that we have backup transformers in case that were to happen. This technology looks super interesting. I'm not entirely certain if it's how accurate it is, and I would imagine the energy company just on reflex is going to deny it. But if this all started because of faulty infrastructure, we have to have a conversation about that.
A fault on transmission line number 3 is the location of the ignition of the Eaton fire. This is my 22nd wildfire. I've represented 21,000 fire survivors in 6 different states. This is the clearest evidence that I've ever seen of utilities equipment being the start of a fire.
With plenty of warning with the Santa Ana winds, trial attorney Michael Watts says SoCal Edison should have better prepared with a proper public safety power shutoff, or PSPS. Southern California Edison's response?
Proper public safety.
The video that we obtained from the New York Times on Saturday night needs more careful analysis. And it is very premature. I should say it is premature to comment or speculate on what that footage means without more careful analysis.
Oh, electrical arcs and sparking there. If you see that, the Eaton fire origin.
It's decades of...
All right. Well, look, it's a good time to check on our infrastructure and prioritize the right things, not the deep state Joe Biden, Barack Hussein Obama stuff that divides our nation and just funds craziness everywhere. Remove the funding, stop the craziness. I think America is a center normal nation, center right, center MAGA. This hardcore lefty stuff, if you weren't funding it, it wouldn't be there. So let's remove the USAID. We're going to get to USAID coming up here. Benny Johnson here, JD Vance speaking to the citizens of East Palestine, Ohio, in St. Louis, Bath and Renovation, saying, listen to the clarity here. There's no stammering or stuttering. This is what public speaking sounds like, and from someone who's telling the truth. JD Vance, Vice President Vance, future 48th President of the United States, perhaps. President Vance.
President loves this community. Of course, he visited himself personally, and President Trump just wanted to deliver a message that this community will not be forgotten, will not be left behind, and we are in it for the long haul in East Palestine. And what does that mean? Well, one thing it means is that, of course, the environmental cleanup has to get done. It's a tragedy and a shame that it wasn't done during the last administration.
It's been 2 years and they still haven't cleaned it up. I mean, you wouldn't let these people stay on your payroll as janitors, let alone stewards of your nation. These people are, insert negative adjective here.
But I guarantee we're going to finish the cleanup during this administration under the great leadership of Lee Zeldin, our new EP administrator who stands behind me. And I also think that part of that means the long-term economic development of this community. We know that a lot of local businesses and a lot of local people lost a lot when that train disaster happened a couple of years ago. We are committed not just to finishing the environmental side of the cleanup, but hopefully seeing East Palestine build back better and stronger and more prosperous than.
He said, build back better. That's a Democrat talking point. Look, I admit I tend to say build back better because I mocked it so much. But yeah, you're going to build back and you're going to build back better. But you would never hire a Democrat to build anything. You want to get wrapped up in regulations, red tape, bureaucracy, delays, unnecessary expenses. That's what the Democrat Party brings you. You want to build. You want Trump. He's a builder. How many towers have been built? That's what the family does. That's what they've done. They are builders. People like Biden, they're scavengers. You know, they're like little crabs at the bottom of the ocean, pulling all the flesh away from a fish that passed, taking every last piece, stripping all the flesh from the bone. That's what these pirates have been doing to the U.S. funding. That's what they've been doing to the coffers of our treasury. They're pirates. They hate you. 2 years and they can't even clean up a creek bed. What a bunch of assholes. This was absolutely intentional. Intentional that they decided to not do the job. We don't ask for a lot out of the federal government. We really don't. But when things like this happen, environmental disasters, catastrophes, you need to get things back on track. That's one of a military and some basic infrastructure guidance and support for calamities. So I'm thrilled to see that this is happening now. I'm not surprised that Obama's third term, when they stole 2020, they fortified it. That's what they call it. They said, oh, we fortified 2020 to keep Trump out of office. Read the Time magazine article. They tell you, like in Wag the Dog, he goes, I want the credit. I want the credit. And they have to off the director because he's like, no, you can't ever tell this story. He goes, well, not now, but when I can. He goes, no, you can never tell this story. Time couldn't wait. And they talked about how they fortified the election, 81 million votes. So yeah, on the third and most honest Barack Hussein Obama presidency term, look at what he did and look at what he didn't do. He hates this country. He hates you. And he had that puppet Biden up there doing nothing. What did Pete Buttigieg do to fix that area? Why can you still go to the creek bed and drag a stick across and have all of those chemicals come up? It's because they hate you. They don't care about you. Good for J.D. Vance. Glad to see him down there.
Than it was before this disaster.
And as far as the rebuilding effort, that was the point I was starting to make. You know, how fantastic that maybe throughout the reconstruction here and like the rebuilding efforts, yeah, maybe some effort could be put into revitalizing that community that suffered so much under Pete Buttigieg and his Department of Transportation, allowing that train to crash. Yeah, I know you can only blame him so much, but why not? They blame the Republicans for everything. Why not blame them? Yeah, revitalize that town in Ohio, East Palestine. Get it back on track. Good for them.
Happened in the first place. The president.
So there you go. Should have never happened in the first place. Yeah, this was super interesting. I don't need to click here. I'll just play it. Here's a vintage refrigerator with the door off in the summer to see how much it cost. The door's off, it's running in the summer, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes. And at the end, I think they said it was $3. Here, let me just scroll to the end. Can I scroll on the? I don't think I can scroll on here. $3 a day, maybe? Yeah, what was it? $3.45. Hang on, what was the number? A full week. There you go. A full week of running this for $3.45. Are the Energy Star appliances that good? I don't know. I'm having a hard time believing that's real. But anyway, it's something to consider. All these old appliances. I mean, how many things that we've had to upgrade are actually better than the thing that we replaced them with? All right, here's this creepy little gargoyle Chucky Schumer. Here's the video I was telling you about. Here we go.
It's going to affect beer. Okay.
He is so desperate and pathetic and compromised.
Most of it, Corona here, comes from Mexico.
While Chuck Schumer is whining about the cost of a pint of beer, President Trump is talking about saving American lives. And I would say to Chuck Schumer, what would you give? What price would you pay if your child was killed at the hands of an illegal immigrant who should have never made their way into this country in the first place? Or if your child died at the hands of illegal Chinese fentanyl that was trafficked through both our southern and northern borders? There are thousands of parents across this country who have felt that loss. There is no price that can bring their child back. And that's what President Trump is doing with these tariffs. He's making it very clear that he is going to put the American people's interests first, and he is going to protect our homeland. And Democrats can either get on board with that, or they can continue to lose elections as they did on November 5th.
Man, that's a great message. Caroline Leavitt crushing it. God, it's so nice to have competent people in government again. How fantastic is that? All right, this one here from Tim Runs His Mouth. There we go. Tim Runs His Mouth. This is Caroline Leavitt listing all the insane things that USAID has been funding and why it's getting shut down. Here you go.
Here's the reason why Elon Musk and others have been taking a look. Because if you look at the waste and abuse that has run through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys. And here's the...
This is fantastic. It's money laundering, pure and simple. It's pure piracy. Make them walk the plank. Yeah, it's pure piracy. And we said that the whoever greenlit this should have to pay it back out of their own pockets. God, it's nice to have real messaging. That Corinne Jean-Pierre and Peppermint Patty, they were terrible. They were awful. Caroline Leavitt is good, and her messaging is spot on. She's talented. She's accurate. She's crushing it. This one here from Libs of TikTok. Here's some pure fire from new acting director of USAID, Marco Rubio. New acting director of USAID, Marco Rubio.
USAID? What's happening at USAID and how the questions are here?
Well, look, I mean, my frustration with USAID goes back to my time in Congress. It's a completely unresponsive agency. It's supposed to respond to policy directives of the State Department, and it refuses to do so. So the functions of USAID, there are a lot of functions of USAID that are going to continue, that are going to be part of American foreign policy, but it has to be aligned with American foreign policy. I said very clearly during my confirmation hearing that every dollar we spend and every program we fund, that will be aligned with the national interest of the United States. And USAID has a history of sort of ignoring that and deciding that there's somehow a global charity separate from the national interest. These are taxpayer dollars. And so I'm very troubled by these reports that they've been unwilling to cooperate with people who are asking simple questions about what does this program do, who gets the money, who are our contractors, who's funded. And that sort of level of insubordination makes it impossible to conduct the sort of mature and serious review that I think foreign aid writ large should have. We're spending taxpayer money here. These are not donor dollars. These are taxpayer dollars. And we owe the American people the assurances that every dollar we are spending abroad is being spent on something that furthers our national interest. And so far, a lot of the people that work at USAID have just simply refused to cooperate.
Are you currently in charge of USAID? Or are you
I'm the acting director of USAID. I've delegated that authority to someone, but I stay in touch with him. And again, our goal was to go in and align our foreign aid to the national interest. But if you go to mission after mission and embassy after embassy around the world, you will often find that in many cases, USAID is involved in programs that run counter to what we're trying to do in our national strategy with that country or with that region. That cannot continue. USAID is not an independent, non-governmental entity. It is an entity that spends taxpayer dollars, and it needs to spend it, as the statute says, in alignment with the policy directives that they get from the Secretary of State, the National Security Council, and the President. And it's been 20 or 30 years where people have tried to reform it, and it refuses to reform. It refuses to cooperate. When we were in Congress, we couldn't even get answers to basic questions about.
Yeah, you can't get questions for it. You can't reform it. It's just time to end it. You want to build something that's going to have some accountability now. Delete that, Control Alt Delete, unplug all the wires on this thing. And if you need to do imagine funding the things that actively go against your best interests. That is the perfect summation of the Democrat Party, the lying legacy media, and the destruction of our Department of Education, how they're brainwashing kids to completely warp them into the backward versions of what they're supposed to be doing.
Programs. That will not continue. That's not going to continue.
Elon Musk has called it a terrorist organization. Do you believe that?
I've articulated to you my challenges with it, and they go back to my time in Congress. Okay, we would ask them questions. Who does this program fund? Who gets the money? We won't tell you. We don't need to tell you. We're apolitical. Well, American foreign policy isn't apolitical. American foreign policy is to further the interest of the United States. If someone wants to spend apolitical dollars, they should spend private dollars, go start a charity, and you can fund anyone you want. But if you're going to spend taxpayer money, then you need to spend it in furtherance of the national interest of the United States. That's exactly what I said at my confirmation hearing. And this is not my frustration. This frustration has existed now for almost a quarter century in multiple administrations that have gone through this challenge. It's going to stop and it's going to end.
Can you tell us a little bit about the canal?
How fantastic is that? I was very reticent. I was very concerned about Marco Rubio. I'm not a super big fan. He strikes me as a deep state asset. However, he's doing a really good job here, and I'm very fond of the work that he's doing. This shared from D and Fringe. This is an account that shares several good things. I find their stuff interesting, some of it. Lee is saying they weren't in this big of a hurry to reach North Carolina this year, responding to members of Congress attempting to enter USAID. Oh, there she is, Ilhan Omar. When are we going to look into her and her brother and immigration fraud? Elon saying the corrupt politicians who are protesting outside the USAID building are the ones getting money from USAID. That's why they're there. They want your stolen tax dollars. Kanekoa the Great says breaking Representative Jamie Raskin, one of the worst people in all of government, blasts Elon Musk outside USAID headquarters, declaring that Democrats will block Doge from eliminating government waste and fraud. Elon Musk, you didn't create USAID. He doesn't have the power to destroy it, and who will stop him? We are. What? Elon's like, yeah, they've broken the law regarding the white people Twitter that's now calling for the public execution of the Doge software developers. Look at that. Yeah, they've broken the law, and this is getting spicy. These are cornered rats. These are rats that have been gnawing away at our infrastructure, gnawing away at our treasury, our blood and treasure. Biden sends weapons so that hundreds of thousands could die in Ukraine. Zelensky said he's missing $100 billion. Why do you think Biden pardoned his family? Zelensky knows what's up. It's about to all get exposed. This USAID thing is massive. And look at the rats that are coming out. Chucky Schumer, Ilhan Omar, Jamie Raskin, the worst of the worst that our U.S. government has to offer. Here you go. Lee Grader says it makes sense that Ilhan Omar is mad about USAID being closed because she is a foreign agent who exists in government only to siphon American tax dollars and route them to her clients overseas. She is a Somali and should not be an American politician. This is a farce. Captive Dreamer, the Democrats are freaking out right now because they structured the entire federal government into a big welfare and income program for their voters, and Trump is cutting it off. Mike Ben saying there's so much going on and so much I need to say, but there's no way to flesh it all out in these 15-minute media hits. I need a solid 2 to 4 hour block just to break everything down because the entire American empire is being restructured as we speak, and it must be put back together well. Rams Paul says parasites are getting upset. Here's a Democrat representative, Jim McGovern, groveling at the feet of USAID employees. Quote, I want to say I'm sorry that you have to put up with this offensive bullshit coming out of this White House. You mean I can't spend 32,000 of your hard-earned tax dollars for trans comic books in Peru? I can't spend $47,000 for a trans opera in Colombia. You mean I can't spend $70,000 for a DEI musical in Ireland? Yeah. Mike Cernovich, who I've interviewed before, check it out on YouTube and actually just on YouTube. Go back and check it out in the Wayback Machine. Interviewed him at Politicon. Mike Cernovich says USAID was the skeleton key to unlocking all of the corruption. I've never seen Democrats so outraged about anything. Yeah, except for maybe the last time the Republicans fought to free the slaves. Democrats are pretty upset about that. Insider paper here, breaking. Elon Musk's Doge has been granted access to all systems at the Small Business Administration, SBA, including HR, contract, and payment systems, according to PBS. Oh, boy. Oh, my God. The money laundering is stopping. Oh, my God. All you really needed was a president that cared. Did George Bush care? Did Barack Hussein Obama care? Did Bill Clinton care? Did George Herbert Walker Bush care? Reagan? Reagan was cool. I liked Reagan. But I've never seen anybody get to it like this. We have a boss in the White House now. This is boss energy, and it's super necessary. Bring in the accountants. I haven't seen this movie, but I'm guessing he's a badass in this movie. Yeah, so this is Nick Sortor kind of explaining what happened here. President Trump just appointed Secretary of State Marco Rubio as acting director of USAID. That's what Rubio was just saying there. It was revealed this morning that USAID gave millions for bat coronavirus research in Wuhan in 2019 and then attempted to cover it up. The corruption ends now. Can I repeat? The virus that was intentionally unleashed from the Wuhan laboratory. Don't say lab leak. That's like, oh, something accidentally happened. No. The bioweapon that killed my younger brother 3 years ago came from the bat coronavirus research funded by USAID. So now we have the smoking gun. What to do of Fauci? What to do about Fauci? I'm going to leave that there for a second. Oh, here's an interesting, on our Instagram feed, we're going to give you timely stories and then interesting things. Takes costs $3 a week to heat a 70-year-old refrigerator. What about?
Let's move in.
We're going to be unleashing the JFK, RFK, and MLK files. How about the MM files? Because Marilyn Monroe was linked to both Bobby and John Kennedy.
To the JFK Marilyn Monroe assassination.
Oh, some of the fun stuff.
Yeah. Let's move into that. What do you know about that?
A lot.
Plant Girl saying JFK told his mistress too much, and then the American government took them both out. It's not even surprising. What's surprising that no one's ever exposed it. Well, that's kind of the prevailing opinion.
It had a big old Xerox of this document that was a wiretap of Marilyn Monroe dated a couple of days before they found her dead. And it was signed by the CIA guy, James Jesus Angleton III. Now, he was a famous fanatical mole hunter and leak stopper at the agency back in the early 60s. Fanatical. And they had wiretapped Marilyn Monroe's phone, and she was calling up Bobby Kennedy and a friend of hers named Rothberg in New York, who was an art dealer, saying that she was going to hold a press conference to tell the whole world what Kennedy had told her, quoting the objects from outer space from the 40s found in New Mexico.
Let's move into the JFK.
Yeah. I mean, what? I don't know if I fully buy that, but it's an interesting story, and it's time we find out. Look, if we're being run by space lizards like Mark Zuckerberg, I want to know about it. Oh yeah, I want to see the beginning of this because I didn't catch the second thing that our new press secretary had to say.
You're watching live coverage.
Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book.
It was the Serbian thing that I wanted to get some clarification on. Yeah, Doge is cleaning up corruption. Bravo. This is absolutely fantastic.
Does the president?
Here you go. Here's some more. Our our press secretary is awesome. And let's dig into this one about how the churches have been involved in illegal alien invasion, the human trafficking, the abuse. It's time to identify it. Nimbus, what's up? Hang on, I can't. Nimbus, you're in front of my screen here. Watch out. All right, we'll try it again. See, my cat gets up here on the screen and he pushes. He'll like rub the corner of his face on the laptop. All right, here we go.
I intend to permanently cut off funding to NGOs that are bringing illegal foreign nationals to the country, such as Catholic Charities.
I am actually quite certain that the president signed an executive order that did just that.
They literally put out a video with a lawyer telling people with the Refugee and Immigration Services of Catholic Charity what to do, and they actually put it out on the public.
This is a video about knowing your right if Immigration and Customs Enforcement approaches you. All people living in the United States, including people who are undocumented, have certain rights under the United States Constitution.
Once you come into a country illegally, it is a crime. Now, if you are trafficked, that's not your fault.
This is Dr. Taylor Marshall.
If you are frightened and feel like you need to leave, you can calmly walk toward the exit. You have the right to remain silent. You do not need to speak to the immigration authorities or answer any questions. If you are asked where you were born or how you entered the United States, you may simply refuse to answer. You may refuse to show identity documents and say what country you are from.
This proves without a doubt that Catholic Charities is aiding illegal immigrants. This was a really dumb move, Catholic Charities. Most Catholics are.
And how many people do you know? I can think of one person. A girl I knew in high school, hung out with a little bit in college. We never started dating. Almost did, sort of, kind of. I mean, you know, and I see posts from this person. You know, about their progressive church, and, you know, imagine the type of stuff that lady that was berating President Trump in public, trying to bash him about illegal aliens, and you see where her funding's coming from. And anyway, this person I know from high school will post these things, and it's pro illegal aliens, and we need to just flood America with non-Americans. I'm going, why in the world are you promoting this? What is it about the church you're going to that's putting this nonsense in your head? We have traditions, we have customs, we have culture, American things that you don't dilute with too many people from other places. If you have a specific drawn out process and a delineated process of learning the American language, which is English, learning the American customs, learning the Bill of Rights, the civil liberties, our founding documents, an agreement to adhere to our freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of this, freedom of that, and say, look, you can be from another place, but you're going to become an American. If you go through that process and become an American, that's one thing, but just dumping enclaves of Haitians, Somalis, Ukrainians, it doesn't matter where you come from. Throw a dart on the map. I don't want enclaves of Irish. I don't want enclaves of English. I don't want enclaves of those from the Congo or those Congolese. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. Go through the process of assimilation and becoming American, and go through the front door and wait in line. Don't cut in front of everybody else. There could be a moderate amount of immigration for the best and the brightest. Absolutely. But where is the value in human trafficking? People that don't speak the language, don't care about this country. They're interested in handouts. They're a drag and a burden on our society. They're a drag and a burden on the finite financial resources of the country. A drag and a burden on the school systems, who have to bring in all of these people who can speak 5, 10 different languages in school so that they can try to get some sort of education. All the other kids are suffering. All the other kids are being held back because of this. Where is the benefit to the United States? I don't see it. And I think there's something really nefarious wrapped up with these Catholic charities, some of these progressive churches. You know what? I am a Christian. I'm not Catholic, but I am a Christian. Any organized religious mantra, any organized religious strategy to dump non-Americans in America, that's a policy that needs to change. And these are people that need to be held criminally liable, and they should be stripped of their ill-gotten gains. If they're doing it for money, all this human trafficking, so you can run and there's sexual abuse happening. There's on children and adults. Look at the pedophile priests. There's a long-standing tradition of trying to keep marginalized communities as pets. That's what slavery was. I thought we were past this. No, we're not. There's also a long-standing tradition of keeping marginalized communities as slaves. Under the table, working for peanuts, 100% completely dependent upon you, like a stray cat or a domesticated stray cat. At least if you're a stray cat, you're out there, you still know how to hunt. But people that are completely dependent, they forget how to hunt. They forget how to take care of themselves. They forget how to achieve, strive, work, toil, struggle, succeed, gain rewards, and improve their lot in life. There is some creepy shit that's being unveiled right now, and I'm here for it.
Are discouraged that the bishops and Catholic charities have become a social justice NGO that do not teach the Catholic faith, the morality, the doctrine. They are working contrary to the best interest of Americans.
Does the president?
If you're working to the contrary of the best interest of Americans, you're done. You're done. Here's another. I mean, look, I haven't had a chance to sit and watch this whole interview. I've met Piers Morgan, told him to his face that I completely disagree with him on his views on the Second Amendment, but I appreciate that he's having the conversations on his show each night. He reached out, he shook my hand. He goes, thank you so much for saying that. I think it is important. Even if we do disagree, we should have more of these conversations. Like, heck yeah. I'd like to have Pierce on my show. I'd like to be on Pierce's show. He's having these conversations even when it makes him look foolish. I thought he looked bad in the Second Amendment debates. And I think Tucker Carlson is making his opinions, it's kind of making him look comical in these. But like, I respect that Pierce does it and he goes for it. And it's like, let it fall, let the chips fall where they may. We're going to have a conversation. This is the conversation I didn't know I needed, but I'm enjoying it.
The West allows Putin to just take the land he's taken. What guarantee do we have he won't try and take the rest of Ukraine? I think he's a pretty ruthless, evil Russian dictator.
How are we defining, just to find the term so we can follow the same? What's a dictator?
I would start by saying you have no respect for democratic norms. A free and fair election.
Because Zelensky's obviously not elected either. He's also banned a religious denomination. He's murdered his political opponents. He has banned a language group. Those all seem like features of dictatorship to me. Now, he has the support of the British intelligence agencies. That doesn't mean he's not a dictator, though. That sounds like a dictator. I mean, if I gave you a piece of paper and I'm like, here are some qualities of a European leader, you would say, well, that's not legitimate. That guy's a dictator. I can't support that. But his name's Zelensky, and he was once a comedian, and he does my show, so he's not a dictator. I think it's a dictator.
Tucker,
if the West,
look, one of the most important voices out there. And look, I'm giving Piers Morgan some credit. We can disagree with him on some things. We can agree with him on some other, but he's a very important voice in the global conversation. I'm happy that this interview happened. Super happy.
Alicia.
Now here's Megyn Kelly, another very important voice.
Keys.
Alicia Keys at the Grammys.
Accepts the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award and uses it. Miss Alicia Keys of the, I swear I wasn't coincidentally wearing the Palestinian colors hours after 10/7. No, I wasn't. I swear. This is how she spent her acceptance speech.
This is not the time to shut down the diversity of voices. We've seen on this stage talented, hardworking people from different backgrounds with different points of view, and it changes the game. DEI is not a threat, it's a gift. When destructive forces try to burn us down, we rise from the ashes like a phoenix.
I believe that was yet another reference to Israel. By the way, it was the Hamas who did the burning of actual people and babies. Alicia, you might want to actually do a little research before you go out there and wag your tongue, because you don't know what the F you're talking about. Alicia Keys.
And this DEI thing, you got to get over this. You got to get over thinking it's something that it's not. DEI causes people to DIE. That's what happens. You prioritize. What did I write down? Did I write it down on this one? Oh, maybe it was on. Oh, I know where I wrote it. Representation over qualification. Representation over qualification. And that is backward. That is antithetical to the American way. This is supposed to be a meritocracy where let the best succeed. Let the best succeed. I don't know about the Gaza-Israel part, but You know, DEI sounds nice. Oh, diversity, equity, inclusion. Nice, nice, nice. No, it's the equity part. The Cleveland Browns need a quarterback really bad. I don't want to draft the best quarterback that we can. By the way, I do a sports show called the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Knocked out a couple of episodes. Check them out on YouTube and Rumble and X. I don't want to get the best available quarterback who graduated from a Mid-American Conference school. I want to get the best available quarterback, period. When Joe Biden's like, I'm going to select a vice president who's a woman of color. Huh? What? See, representation is important. Representation as a byproduct of competence? Sure. Did you ever listen to Kamala Harris speak and cackle? An absolute hyena, an absolute sock puppet. I mean, was she getting her information through an earpiece, through her earrings? I mean, you'd see her short circuit and start speaking in word salad, verbal diarrhea. She's not a serious person. She's not a qualified person. She's not a competent person. But this is what happens when you say, I will select my next quarterback as long as they played in the ACC. Okay, so I can't. I will get a quarterback who graduated from the Big Ten. Huh? So I can go like Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. But there's good quarterbacks at USC, at LSU, at all of these other schools. There's hundreds of other places I could get the best qualified person, but you're limiting it to just this group of people. That is dangerous, especially when it's in life or death positions, like flying an airplane potentially. That Black Hawk helicopter, is that somebody that was unqualified? Were they promoted just to cross a couple check marks off the box? We saw the false report that it was a trans pilot. The pilot's like, yeah, I'm here. Nope, wasn't me. Saw another report that it's a lady who was pseudo a part of the Biden administration, as of yet unconfirmed as far as I know. So reporting that with veracity and certainty is not the right decision, but you ask the question. They had an FAA guy that we covered yesterday, interviewed by Ted Cruz. Biden wanted him to be in charge of the FAA. He didn't know a thing about planes, procedures, policies, nothing. He didn't know anything about the specifics. That is a very specialized position. How are you gonna let Pete Buttigieg be in charge of transportation? He knows nothing about transportation. Well, he was a mayor in South Bend, Indiana. Right. So what does he know about boats and planes and highways? And like, this is a specialized, like there's a lot to know. Yeah, but he's gay, and that represents a a portion of our community, and that's diversity, and that's equality and inclusion. You're including them. I don't care about any of those factors. I care about competence. Is this person qualified for the post? So yeah, Alicia, DEI is not a knock against non-white people. It's a knock against raising people up who are unqualified. What if they gave a Grammy, Alicia Keys? You know what? Let me put that together. Alicia, DEI, Grammy. There you go. Alicia Keys. What if they were giving out Grammys, but instead of giving it to the best new artist, they said, well, we feel like the state of Ohio is underrepresented. So for equality's sake, we need more people from Ohio. And you see what I'm doing here? Ohio represents gay, lesbian, bisexual. Ohio represents non-white human, person of color. Ohio represents disabled. So we're not giving out a Grammy Award for the best new artist. This year, we're going to give that award to the best disabled artist and call it the best new artist. Now, I have nothing against disabled people. I have nothing against gay people. What's the phrase? What do they say? Person of color. That's their fun phrase. But if you're giving something to somebody who didn't earn best new artist, they just happen to be the best new artist from Ohio, meaning that they're disabled, or being that they're black or that they're Latino. Pick your Skittles category of the day. That's the best new artist who identifies as gay or non-heterosexual. There you go. A non-heterosexual artist. We give our best new artist to the best non-heterosexual artist. You're discriminating against heterosexual artists. You're discriminating against whatever else in the panoplia, anything under the sun. It's discrimination, and it's not accurately representing the best new artist. Well, we're giving out our best new artist to the best new artist from the Pacific Islands. Wouldn't that be a separate category? Or are you trying to get the best new artist across the globe? Who is the best new artist that came out in the past year? That's who you give it to. You don't say I need a quarterback and I'm going to pick 3 schools. I'm going to pick the best quarterback that I can get as long as they came from BYU, Texas Tech, and Central Michigan University. It's not about any one group. It's about limiting your options to a narrowly constrained group that limits you from opening the blinders and seeing potential great candidates. There might have been some good vice presidential candidates for Joe Biden to pick. He didn't. He picked perhaps the worst political presence you've ever seen. A completely unserious person who Joe Biden himself said, I'm going to pick someone just because their skin tone and their ovaries. Skin tone and ovaries. Melanin content and vagina. That's what you went with. That's what you decided was relevant to you instead of competency at the position. That's why DEI is toxic, racist, illegal. It's done. Sorry, Alicia Keys, get a grip. You're nice and all, but come on. Let's see this post from President talking about Doge and how successful it has been. What a brilliant strategy.
Well, he's got access only
talking about Elon
to letting people go that he thinks are no good if we agree with him. And it's only if we agree with him.
If they agree.
He's a very talented guy from the standpoint of management and costs. And we put him in charge of seeing what he can do with certain groups and certain numbers. Some of the numbers are horrible, what he's found. Think of it, $100 million on condoms to Hamas. Condoms to Hamas. And many other things that are frankly even more ridiculous. And they're finding tremendous waste, really waste more than anything else, I think you could say. Probably fraud and abuse could be added to it, the more standard waste, fraud and abuse. But they're finding tremendous amounts of really bad things, bad spending.
And it's not spending, it's money laundering. I don't think for a second half of these line items are going the places you think they're going. They're being rerouted. They're taking 10% off the top. They're giving them to NGOs that turn around and fund all the wackadoos that get in the way and spout the most ridiculous shit every single week. It's money laundering. It's theft. It's piracy. It's not really wasteful spending. It's so much deeper and so much more destructive than that.
You've been writing about some of it, frankly, and some of the things that they've been doing is just terrible. Elon can't do and won't do anything.
I like that he called Elon Leon. That's neat. Now I might never unhear that.
Anything without our approval, and we'll.
Good job, Elon Musk. I'd love to see like an alter ego of Elon Musk. I think the only two people named Leon in my life have been old black dudes. One was a news reporter for WKYC Channel 3 Cleveland, Leon Bibb. Then the other was Leon. He was a neighbor, family friend guy. Leon Musk. So I'm envisioning like an alter ego, dressed differently, maybe wears sunglasses. Leon Musk. Sorry, it's totally irrelevant, but it's cracking me up.
Give him the approval. We're appropriate. We're not appropriate. We won't. But he reports in, and it's something that he feels very strongly about, and I'm impressed because he's running obviously a big company. It has nothing to do if there's a conflict that we won't let him get near it. But he does have a good natural instinct. He's got a team of very talented people. We're trying to shrink government, and he can.
You have to shrink government.
Probably shrink it as well as anybody else, if not better. Where we think there's a conflict or there's a problem, we won't let him go near it. But he has some very good ideas, and we have a lot of very other talented people also. We're bringing in the most talented people in the world. Well,
it's pretty fantastic to see. This stuff is so overdue. Let me address a comment here. Alan, you're talking about 500 hours is 12 and a half weeks. Sounds like basic training to you. What was the 500 hours comment regarding? Neil is saying no one's complaining about the lack of Asians in pro football, including themselves. That's a great point. That is an excellent point. How many white people are complaining that they're underrepresented in the NFL? I mean, look at it per capita. Look at the percentages, the ratios. It's very unfair, they say. Oh, is it? Is it now? You know, you have what, 85% of the teachers, they're all women? That's unusual. That's unfair to men. Is it unfair, or do people gravitate toward the things that they excel at? And then the marketplace decides. I'm not getting into that Colin Kaepernick crap again, but suffice it to say, he was good for a little bit, but his gameplay was kind of shticky. It was kind of gimmicky with the pistol formation. It was an RPO, a run pass option. You'd fake the handoff or you'd hand it off. Then you'd run. You'd either pitch it or you'd throw it or you'd take off. Kind of took the league by storm for a hot minute, and then the defenses figured out how to play him. And then he sucked. And then instead of going away into that quiet night, he got replaced by Blaine Gabbert in San Francisco, a journeyman, not so great QB. And he wouldn't get signed to this massive contract because the league figured him out. He wasn't that valuable anymore. So he goes on this Democrat, DEI, Nike-fueled bullshit binge, spewing everything's racist. Oh, I'm being discriminated against. No, dude, you're just an aging running quarterback that the league figured out and nobody wants to pay you. It ain't about race. It's about talent stack. You want to figure out how to develop into a different kind of quarterback that can work in a different system. You're going to win games and you're going to get paid. That whole thing set me down a path 10 years ago of just, I couldn't stop talking about it. It offended me on so many levels because it was pissing on your leg and telling you that it's raining. The Democrats take a fentanyl overdose and try to say, oh, America is the most racist country in the world. We're terrible. We're evil. Let's burn it all down. Orange man bad. Orange man racist. I'm not into that. I'm not buying it. It's based on faulty assumptions. I'm not a fan. But yeah, Neil, good point. No one's complaining about the lack of Asians in pro football, including themselves. Oh, okay. There you go. You were saying, Alan. What's up, Alan? Thanks for joining us. Hit like, hit subscribe. Yeah, you've been joining our shows. I appreciate your commentary. He's saying 500 hours of training for the chopper pilot, that female pilot. Look, if you have a link, if it's been confirmed, I'd love to talk about it. Like I said, there was rampant speculation a couple days ago that it was a guy living his life as a girl who got into the military, and this trans pilot was the one that crashed the Black Hawk. Then that person released a video like a day later going, "Hi, that wasn't me." So I'm seeing the same images. I'm seeing the same names floated out there, and it might very well be that person, but I haven't been able to confirm it yet. But whoever is piloting the chopper needs the same amount of training as the next person. You don't get off easier if you're a guy or a girl. There's a joke in there about getting off easier as a guy. Because guys do get off easier. You don't lower the standards to be a firefighter because a woman wants to be there. It's like, well, she's more petite and she's a lady, so they shouldn't have to carry 200 pounds. They should only have to carry 125 pounds. No. Any woman can be a firefighter if you can do the exact same job as a man. You don't lower your standards. The colleges, well, we lowered our admission standards because not enough people of XYZ community were being admitted. Well, then train those people better in high school to get into college. You don't lower the bar and lower expectations just to let more people in. You encourage other people and help the previous batch of people coming up through high school to be prepared to excel in college. That's what affirmative action was doing. There's report after report of these people who were, they were okay in college. They weren't exceptional students. They weren't exceptionally gifted. They ended up getting into really challenging Ivy League schools because they lowered their admission standards for this group, for that group, for the other group, for BYU quarterbacks, for Texas Tech quarterbacks, for Bowling Green quarterbacks. You see what I'm doing with the analogy? It's not about being black or Latino or disabled or trans or gay. You're BYU, Texas Tech, Bowling Green, Montana. Doesn't matter. When you limit it to different groups and you change the standards, that is effed up. And when it comes to things like pilots, that is a life and death F up. That is something we don't have the luxury of being able to, we got to balance the scales out a little bit. A couple hundred years ago, things were pretty bad in America. And so we got to kind of make it easy for them. No. You just work at leveling everybody up. You don't level things down. Yes, you're saying that she was in the White House, the pilot. I did see that photograph. If you have a link where like all of the media has now, there's been an official release of the information, because at the request of the family, that information had not been given out. So I don't want to report that yet. That's a little maybe a little premature. Alan saying, sorry, buddy, the standards in the military does have different standards between men and women in physical training. That needs to end. I think Pete Hegseth has mentioned that. I think he said something along those lines exactly. And look, talk about mediocre men competing in girls' sports. Hell no. You protect the girls. There's a reason they're split. They are wildly different in terms of capability, strength, bone density, endurance. You keep every mediocre male pretending to be a female out of women's safe spaces, women's sports. However, the inverse is the opposite. Now, any woman can jump onto an NFL team. Any woman can go on and be an NFL quarterback. You can. Good luck to you. You could play linebacker, you could play wide receiver or defensive end. I don't care. But you're going to have to do the same job that the other people are doing. And I don't know if that's going to be a wise endeavor for you to pursue. There was that lady firefighter when the LA fires were happening. I think she was gay. I think she was a woman of color. I don't know per se, but I do know the comment that was made was horrific. I thought it was a sketch. I thought it was the Babylon Bee knocking out a video. It was her saying like, and some people say, well, you're not going to be strong enough to carry a 175-pound man out of a burning building. And I say, well, if you're a 175-pound man caught in a burning building, it's your own damn fault. It's not my fault I can't carry you. What? There are still lawsuits with the FAA not hiring competent air traffic controllers and various ancillary personnel because they're white males, white straight males, white straight Christian males. I think there's 1,000 people that signed that class action lawsuit saying, I'm qualified, I'm competent, I applied, and you discriminated against me because of the color of my skin, because of the junk between my legs, because of my religious beliefs, because of my sexual proclivities. Adam Carolla famously applied to be a firefighter. They said, I'm sorry, we're not hiring people like you. You're white. You're a male. We're not hiring white males. You're looking for quarterbacks to take over your team. You have a qualified quarterback here, and you're saying, I'm sorry, you didn't go to BYU. Can't hire you. How fucking backward could a society be to turn away qualified people, especially at a time of deficit where they are sorely needed, where competency is sorely needed? This stuff is all interconnected. Alan said he goes to Benny Johnson for his source, not loser cable news or free air media. No, I get you. I mean, look, if Benny's reporting it, we're getting close to having it. And I had this stuff 2 days ago. I actually did share a story on Instagram yesterday or the day before, and they flagged it because it's not confirmed. You know, I think back to when George Zimmerman was doxxed by Spike Lee. Oh, he knew what was up. That's where Zimmerman is. Go get him. Remember, that was an elderly couple? An elderly couple that had to flee their house because Spike Lee thought he had a story and he sicked people on him. Anyway, I'm just saying I'm trying not to do that. Yes, I had the same story you had probably 3 days ago. I shared it 2 days ago as a little sidebar. Got smacked down by Meta, by the way, who claim they're not doing fact checks anymore. They're still doing them. But yeah, anyway, I digress. It's just you need to have the same level of standard and competency as the other person, or else you don't deserve to be where you are. DEI means didn't earn it. So let's end this. All right, speaking of didn't earn it, how in the hell did Adam Schiff get elected to Congress? How in the hell has Adam Schiff not been recalled, replaced already? So here's this weird exchange between him and Kash Patel. I don't know if you saw this one. I found this interesting. Shared from Colin Rugg.
Considered for director of the FBI. And here you did no diligence to find out whether people you were associating with now the President of the United States in song were convicted of attacking police officers. Is that who we want running the FBI?
He's talking about the J6 defendants that, what was it? Every day they sing the Star Spangled Banner, or the national anthem. And by the way, there are tons of nonviolent people who are caught up in that witch hunt. So trying to paint these as all like violent people and people who attack cops, it's very disingenuous. Very disingenuous. I was just out there during the inauguration weekend interviewing Ashley Babbitt's mother, interviewing Stuart Rhodes. I was on the phone with a woman whose boyfriend was supposed to be getting out. And when I was doing the interview, and as the phone rang, Tylene Aldridge I was speaking to, and her boyfriend Jeremy Brown called and said, you know what? I've been put back in cuffs instead of being released. They led me back in, and they said they're not going to be releasing me. That happened on video while I was talking. He was a nonviolent attendee of the Stop the Steal rally at the mostly peaceful protest. He didn't harm anybody. He didn't go inside the Capitol and trespass. Their story is that the informants came to him and said, I want you to turn on these people. I want you to turn evidence and testify against me. He goes, what are you talking about? No, I'm not going to do that. He recorded it. He released that video, and they retaliated by raiding his home, planting grenades and classified documents on him. I guess the classified documents were research into Bo Bergdahl. Yeah, I've researched into Bo Bergdahl too. He was a traitor. And Obama, of course, was working with that snake. Jumped in with the Taliban because Obama worked for Taliban, ISIS. He was the enemy behind the gates, the Manchurian Candidate. I know we're going off topic here a little bit, but yes, it was pretty obvious that Obama was encouraging all of that, and as commander-in-chief would not allow them to attack ISIS. Whereas compare that to President Trump, a true commander-in-chief who's not actively working to subvert the American interests. President Trump blew up a Somalian cave complex with ISIS? Haitian, Somali? I think that video is going to be released this week. Keep your eyes peeled. But that's a difference that a commander-in-chief can make. Anyway, I digress. But the point is, the people in there, there's a lot of innocent people that got caught up in this frame job to incorrectly label President Trump an insurrectionist so that he could be banned from ever serving office again after you stole the election from him by fortifying it, as per your Time magazine article. Clearly articulated and identified because you wanted the credit. Yeah, it's pretty disingenuous what Schiff is doing, and he takes it one step further here to Kash Patel.
I want you to turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them. I want you to look at.
I'm looking at you. You don't take orders from this pencil neck dweeb.
Them, if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did. Tell them you're proud that you raised money off of people that assaulted their colleagues, that pepper sprayed them, that beat them with poles. Tell them you're proud of what you did, Mr. Patel. They're right there. They're guarding you today. Tell them how proud you are.
That's an abject lie, and you know it. I've never, ever accepted violence against law enforcement. I've worked with these men and women, as you know,
you
my entire life,
in song,
and I did not make a single dime out of it.
In song. Well, let me.
How about you ask them if I have their backs, and let's see about that answer.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Patel.
How about you ask them if I have their backs, and let's hear that answer.
Let me ask you this. If an FBI director promoted a song of people who sprayed pepper spray in the face of an FBI agent, would you say they were fit to be director?
Mr. Schiff?
Yes or no? Would they be fit to be director?
I am fit to be the director of the FBI.
If you were the FBI director and you promoted a song with someone who beat an FBI agent with a pole, would you say you were fit to be FBI director?
Mr. Schiff, I am fit to be FBI director based on my 16 years in government service.
And yet you did all these things, Mr. Patel. You can say, oh, I support law enforcement. I decry violence against law enforcement. You could say all that. It's what you did, Mr. Patel, that matters. It's what you did that matters. Well, let me ask you about something else that you did, Mr. Patel. Did you claim that Donald Trump declassified all the documents at Mar-a-Lago? Did you claim that?
In what proceeding?
To the public, ever. Did you tell anyone that Donald Trump declassified all the documents at Mar-a-Lago?
Wow, he's talking about the Mar-a-Lago raid where they go into President Trump's wife's underwear drawer. Yeah, President Trump on his way out, he declassified it all. Like, did you ever hear him say that as commander-in-chief?
From publicly available information, President Trump issued a declassification order on a variety of materials.
No, I'm just asking you, did you tell the public, did you tell anyone, did you make the claim that Donald Trump had declassified those hundreds of classified documents that were Mar-a-Lago?
The documents that were planted there to try to frame him for treason so that you couldn't reelect him after stealing and fortifying 2020 against him. Yeah, your deep state coup has failed, punk. You see what's happening. You better be terrified. He's acting pretty weird right now. Adam Schiff should be, because he's at the top of the list of people that should be indicted.
But did you make that claim
From
publicly?
my best of my recollection, I said President Trump issued a declassification order to a large number of documents.
Yeah, and were you present when he declassified all the Mar-a-Lago
Senator, I'm not saying he declassified all the Mar-a-Lago documents. I said President Trump declassified a large number of documents, and I would hope this committee and the rest of Congress would want to get those documents to the American people.
Mr. Patel.
Oh, yeah.
Before a president or anyone declassified documents, wouldn't you want to know whether making the public would cause sources to be killed? Wouldn't you want to know that before you just declare they're all declassified? Wouldn't that,
as commander-in-chief, it's his discretion, sir,
be the responsible thing for a president to do?
I'm sorry, I called Schiff sir. He doesn't earn that. He hasn't earned that title. He's lost that title. Everybody earns that title with me in the beginning. If you choose to forfeit that from your actions, that's your own damn fault.
It was the responsible thing for us to do. That's why we declassified the Nunes memo.
And did Donald Trump
and no one died.
And did Donald Trump ever ask any of the agencies who produced those documents whether declassifying them would put people's lives at risk? Did he ever do that to your knowledge, Kash Patel?
I don't know that he didn't. Do you?
No, that's the problem, isn't it?
No, he's the commander-in-chief. It's his sole discretion.
That's the problem, isn't it? So let me just ask, Mr. Chairman, if you would, Mr. Patel has said he has no problem. He would support the release of his grand jury testimony in that case. I would ask you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, to join me in requesting, with Mr. Patel's approval, the release of those grand jury transcripts. And I would also ask Mr. Patel whether you support the release of Volume 2 as it pertains to you of the special counsel's report. Any reference to you in the report, to your truthfulness, will you support the release to this committee of those sections of Volume 2 of special counsel's report?
I support following the law and providing whatever information the law requires.
Well, you said to the Wall Street Journal that you support transparency. Here's your chance, Mr. Patel. You support release of that to this committee, yes or no?
Your time's up. Before
what's the last part?
You're being considered for...
I think that was the end of it. Anyway, it's just interesting. I'm very excited for Kash Patel to get involved in our government. Very excited for it. What's this here? Alan saying, being ex-military, the warrant officer is the one who was in charge of the Black Hawk. Okay. What's this? JFK Jr. got... oh, wait. RFK Jr. got confirmed? Did that just happen? Let's see. RFK. Is that a done deal now? Is it approved now? Oh, shit. Yes, here we go, I think. Done deal. Here we go. I'm going to say done deal. Let's discuss on today's episode of the Agree to Disagree show at 3 p.m. EST. Live with me and Blake. Good. Thank you for the breaking news. All right, we just put that out on X. If you're not following us on X, please do so. We're at American_media_. This is from Vigilant Fox. Let's share this tab instead. Awesome. Breaking news. I appreciate it. This is why I love the interact, the comments. You send me off on tangents. You pepper me with questions or comments, and we can agree, we can disagree. But like also, as I'm focused on one thing, I guess it's from an hour ago. I've been broadcasting for more than an hour. Vigilant Fox reporting. RFK Jr. has been approved by the Senate Finance Committee as the next Secretary of Health and Human Services, advancing his nomination to a full Senate vote. Oh, okay, shit. That's almost there. Okay. Okay, so we're almost there. Oh my God, the vote was 14-13? Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican of Louisiana, was the key flip that helped RFK Jr.'s nomination for HHS move forward in the Senate Finance Committee. So now it goes to the Senate for the full vote. So close to the finish line. This would be a monumental win for the kids and for humanity. Okay, all right. So I thought maybe we had the full confirmation here. Okay, so it went through the one committee. That is good. Okay. Yes, pencil neck always does lie. All right, let's go back to this. Kind of move into more of the lightning round territory here. We're going to tear through these stories. I don't know if pencil neck got punked out by radio hosts in Ukraine. Oh, that was where they pretended to be Zelensky. That was epic. Alan, are you on X and are you following the New American Media? I'll type it in. We're at American_media_. Can you follow us? And if you have that video of pencil neck getting punked out by the radio host in Ukraine, tag us. I'd love to reshare that and watch that again. All right, back to Instagram. Make sure you're following the New American Media there. Mike Ben's reporting, case in point, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's promoting USAID all over X today. And actually, she came from a USAID program in college that jump-started her miracle political career. Here's all these documents. It's a 5-alarm fire. The people elected Donald Trump to be president, not Elon Musk, having an unelected billionaire with his own foreign debts and motives raiding U.S. classified information is a grave threat to national security. Yeah, that's USAID. Uh-huh. Her trip to Niger was through NIAMI International Deployment Program, funded by USAID, which is known as a CIA front, according to rap game Edward Bernays. Rap game. I'd love to hear Edward Bernays rapping. And what do you know? Shortly after she left Niger, there was a Western-backed coup that overthrew Niger's government. Oh, more of that shit. More toppling democratically elected leaders so that you can install your puppet regimes like Obama Biden did with Victoria Nuland in 2014 in Ukraine to put a comedian there so that comedian could push, provoking a potential nuclear conflict with the Russian bear. I don't know, maybe overthrowing sovereign nations. Think Lula, think Bolsonaro. I don't know, maybe these aren't great ideas. Here we go. Asher Press is saying the CIA-funded USAID doesn't stand for USAID. It stands for United States Agency for International Development, and their budget is bigger than the State Department and the actual CIA combined. Holy shit. Mike Benz is reporting that Trump prosecutors were funded by USAID. Yeah, so our own government is trying to frame and destroy our former president and current president. Asher is giving a quick synopsis here. You know who funded the woke prosecutors twice as much as Soros? The Tides Foundation, etc., that's the funder of those precursors, was funded by USAID, which is a CIA-funded operation. God, the CIA has been all of the crazy, stupid, divisive, demonic, deep state bullshit. It's almost as if our own government hates us, and they're acting as pirates to strip every piece of flesh from our bones. That sounds like treason, doesn't it? The Tides Foundation, funder of these prosecutors, was funded by USAID, which is a CIA-funded operation. Taxpayer-funded money paid for Trump's prosecution. USAID, our $50 billion a year organization, funded to topple governments via non-governmental organizations, NGOs, but also used to topple our own players, i.e. Trump. Yeah, that was a coup on Trump. 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24 constant coup attempts by hook or by crook. This is according to former State Department official Mike Benz. He, along with Elon, have been destroying the USAID corruption this past weekend. So there you go. Mike Benz says, what you will quickly find as you enter the amazing USAID vortex of despair is that virtually every powerful political and financial motor of American society that promotes and lobbies for USAID is either directly on USAID's payroll, works at a place that is, or his or her donors do. Aesthetica saying, why is USAID giving millions of dollars to Bill Kristol? Bill Kristol says the deep state is far preferable to the Trump state. So you know who Bill Kristol is now, right? Here's a daughter asking, do you want a little boy to watch you pee? No. Why? Because it's inappropriate. My 8-year-old daughter talking to hang on. I'm trying to, Cabarrus. I don't know that word, so it didn't jump in me. I'm trying to focus on it. Cabarrus County Schools saying, I will protect my daughter. And you're not going to let boys go into these girls' rooms. This is really sad. This is from Street People of Los Angeles. We said it's sad. Clean up California. Just open fires, people, trash everywhere, vagrancy, drug addiction. It's nonsense. You got to clean things up. CJ Pearson says he made a decision to retain legal counsel and will soon issue New York Magazine formal notice. For too long, media has been allowed. Oh, that's a one post. Because I thought he's referring to the New York Magazine calling conservatives racist. And they're the ones that cropped out the black people in the picture to make sure that they were able to put that headline together. You don't hate the lying legacy media enough. CJ says for far too long, and he's a black conservative voice as well, pundit. He says for far too long, the media has been allowed to slander conservatives, painting us as racists without consequence. In the same spirit as Donald Trump, it's time we fight back. Bravo. Good for you. Kevin Kiley saying there is absolutely no reason California must be so reliant on lumber from Canada. Remember, this is when President Trump was talking about tariffs on Canada, as I like to call it. There's no reason California needs to be reliant on lumber from Canada. We have 20 million acres of overgrown forests. Yes, forest can be overgrown. It's absurd that the regulators have killed the timber industry while turning our forests into tinder boxes. Now is the time to restore common sense. Yeah, thin out the underbrush, cut down the trees, replant new trees, keep it sustainable, organize it, and pump in some tubes full of water as fire breaks. In case a fire breaks out, the tube casing will melt and drop the water, which will stop the burn. Oh my God. Common sense. This would fix two issues at once. Michael Schellenberger here saying, imagine an app that links your social media, your bank access, and vaccination records together. Now imagine the totalitarian potential of that. Criticize the government or refuse a jab, and you're debanked and unable to travel. This is not a drill. Digital IDs may soon become a reality. This is an article he's referencing that global elites are ramming digital IDs to prevent populist victories. And I said, let's not ever do this. Here's another one. Doge subcommittee has invited NPR and PBS chiefs to testify on their federal funding based on the fact that they produce systemic. That's the word I was looking for with racism, systemic racism. That's another word I don't use. It's such a trap word. It's bogus. Systemically biased content. What else here? Clint Russell saying, just look at the panic this has created. Entire departments are resigning. Vindman, Ilhan, AOC, Schumer, etc. They're hyperventilating. The neoliberal world order was funded almost entirely by USAID. If it's not the head of the snake, it's certainly one of the hydras. This is huge. I interviewed Clint Russell on my show last year following the Libertarian Convention. Check it out on Rumble and YouTube. And I said, we are now on the best timeline, full speed ahead. Jack Posobiec, I had the chance to report for Real America's Voice at the Trump rally in the Bronx. And he's putting out here that the federal workers are stating they're declaring war on the Trump administration within the government. Check out this full article. They're harassing Doge. And you're going to have to go after them now. They're impeding the policies. Well, I think you know what side they're on. Go get them. Yeah, here's a post about Joe Biden pardoning his entire family. It was the last thing he did on his way out. Pardoning Liz Cheney, Dr. Fauci. It was not a good thing for them, but now they're going to have to testify and we'll get what we can out of them. Here is something from the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Tom Homan here at the border talking.
Whether you will detain migrants or deportees on military bases, and can you give us an update on that and how you'll pay for it?
Any assets necessary at the Defense Department to support the expulsion and detention of those in our country illegally are on the table, to include, as has been widely reported, Guantanamo Bay, a naval station I spent a year at as a guard back in 2004, 2005. I know that terrain very well. It's the perfect place to provide for migrants who are traveling out of our country through gray tails or other assets, but also hardened criminals. Where are you going to put Tren de Aragua before you send them all the way back? How about a maximum security prison at Guantanamo Bay, where we have the space? So where we have the assets that can support those doing the interdiction, intervention, and arrest, we will provide that. Because as Tom said, border security is national security. And that includes assets that only the Defense Department has.
And let's remember,
border security is national security. Absolutely. Alan is saying he's only on YouTube. You're not on Rumble. Rumble's like a better YouTube because YouTube censors. X is maybe the only free platform that like lets you speak your mind. We're also on Truth Social, Facebook, Instagram as well. But yeah, if you're only following us on YouTube, we could be erased tomorrow because Google YouTube is one of the worst companies on earth. But I'm glad you found us because I like having your banter in the shows. But yeah, if you could maybe do Rumble or X, those are great platforms. If you're the type of person that you seem to be, you're going to find a lot of similar voices over on X and Rumble. Yeah, Rumble's like how good YouTube used to be before they went stupid and woke. Alan is saying Tulsi has secured a vote to confirm, and that is now going to the Senate floor. Bravo. Alan adding context, an NGO was involved with the overthrow of Ukraine. Oh, God. That whole Ukrainian thing. Such a mess.
processing center there for decades. So we've held aliens there before, and we're going to hold them again. This time, we're going to hold the worst of the worst.
I mean, the Clinton administration had tens of thousands of migrants at Guantanamo Bay. It's been used many times over.
So there you go. Let's use the facilities we have. I like it. This is a funny bit. I'm not going to play it. Go to our Instagram and watch it. We're just the New American Media on Instagram. But if you click on our stories, this is Chappelle. I believe it was from a recent appearance on Saturday Night Live. And he's doing a bit about why he wasn't invited to the Diddy parties. I won't spoil the punchline. There's a couple little punchlines. But it's funny. I would tell you, but I don't want to. I don't want to spoil it. This lady from Real Walkaway shared here. Someone said to this Emily person, every person on the right would say you're a stereotypical libtard with that hair, though. She's like, I'm a proud patriot. I'm MAGA. I'm a conservative housewife. She's like, you guys are mean. All my conservative friends are super nice and awesome to me. So that's an interesting perspective. Yeah, this one here from Defeat Democrats just saying, holy cow, President Trump just made a deal with Mexico, pausing tariffs in exchange for 10,000 Mexican soldiers on the border, stopping illegal immigration and to combat fentanyl. That's a win. Yeah, this is the post from Robert Kroos that I posted earlier. I'll just repeat it again. Maybe the best post of the day. I didn't vote for Elon Musk. Yeah, well, I didn't vote for the FBI, ATF, CIA, PBS, NPR, FDA, WHO, UN, IRS, Federal Reserve, EPA, or CDC either. Cry harder. The comment at the bottom says, seriously, unplug the whole rat's nest of corruption and indict the pirates who are bleeding America dry. Once again, cat turd, I couldn't be happier with the job Trump has done. Better than I could have imagined. And take a look at this. Is this real life? Canada just folded. This is shared from Defeat Democrats to President Trump's demands, announcing $1.3 billion to improve border security and fight fentanyl and illegal drug cartels. So much winning. This is the acting FBI director refusing to disclose the names of the officials involved in the January 6 cases and the Trump investigations. Person who shared this says, yeah, they all have the same eyes. I wonder what that's all about. But here we go. Kash is getting close. This post here, Chris Quaglin, it says 4 freaking years. They moved me to 8 prisons. I lost over 60 pounds because they didn't feed me gluten-free food. By the way, if you need that, that's what you're supposed to eat. And if you screw that up, that's cruel and unusual punishment. That's torture. Like he says here, they tortured me and asked me to cooperate for 3 years. They said I'd go home instantly. All I had to do was sell my soul, and I refused. And that's exactly what they're trying to do to Jeremy Brown. This is interesting from Gentry Gevers. Doge alert. In 2020, a loophole allowed individuals in other countries to file blank U.S. tax returns showing 0 income and receive COVID relief checks, even if they'd only visited the U.S. once on any work visa. This resulted in an estimated $423 million being stolen and sent to non-U.S. citizens, including $34 million to those with foreign addresses. Quote, this is from Jesse Patria. Quote, I have a friend in Europe who heard many folks were filling out and filing blank 2020 U.S. taxes showing zero income for that year and receiving COVID relief checks sent to Europe. All they needed to do was to have visited the U.S. sometime in their life on any kind of work visa. My friend had visited the U.S. one time in 2007 for only a few weeks on a temporary student work visa. So he tried it, and sure enough, received a check from the U.S. Treasury for $1,800 sent to his address overseas. My God, this stuff has to stop. This is the mother of all bombs being dropped on global elites. This is from Real America's Voice. Archbishop Vigano wrote a letter to America. Here you go.
Bishop Vigano, as those of you may remember, he was the papal diplomat to the United States. He has dropped a bomb. In fact, it's the mother of all bombs on the global elites. And what he's doing is he's saying in this letter that Trump's victory marks the beginning of a counter-revolution of common sense. Sound familiar, Steve? A counter-revolution of common sense against the deep state and against the deep church. And, people should remember that up to close to 60% of American Catholics voted for Trump. And what's interesting is Vigano must be watching every move Trump makes from his secret bunker in Europe, because he sees that Trump is restoring, as he says, promises made, promises kept. He's restoring principles of natural law that are the basis of civil life in a well-ordered society. In fact, I think Vigano's actually watching the nomination hearings because he mentions Bobby Kennedy and applauds Bobby Kennedy's support of pulling out of the WHO. He's also very supportive of Trump following up on that infamous Richmond memo targeting traditional Catholics that Kash Patel said in his hearing that he was going to investigate. But there's something more that's going on in this letter, and I really believe that this is a declaration of independence for those of us in the world who are against the New World Order. And interestingly, he says, for the first time after years of woke madness, a president of the United States can carry out the program for which he was elected, restoring principles of civil life and a well-ordered society. And he's talking about declaring independence for all men and women around the world from the tyranny of the New World Order globalists, both in America, around the world. And what I think, Steve, very strongly, this letter that Vigano wrote to American Catholics should be, frankly, read out loud in every legislature, every parliament. Every Archbishop Vigano, as those of you may...
Every church, read it there too. Yeah, this is a complete repudiation, and you have to tackle this globally. You got to get rid of Trudeau up in Canada. You got to put Lula back where you found him and put Bolsonaro back in. I mean, the coups that have happened through the same people running these scams, look, they're threats globally, and they got to get... Humanity is a global cause. The New World Order hates us, and they just want to feast on the carcass and steal every ounce of resources that they can. The rest of us want to live nice, good lives with a currency that goes very far, so we can take a little bit and it'll stretch very far, and we can live good lives. They want us poor. They want us broke. They want us debt slaves. These people are not good. President Trump wants to make America great again, really wants to make humanity great again. Elon Musk here in this post says the corrupt politicians who are protesting. Oh, yeah, I did read this one. Yeah, Elon Musk, you didn't create USAID. Yeah, you're the ones getting money from USAID. That's why you're doing it.
Yeah, Elon Musk, you didn't create USAID.
You didn't build that. Remember when Obama said that? You didn't build that. Here's something. RIP to Trevor Moore for exposing the industry through entertainment. Trevor Moore, look him up. Watch that clip. This one here saying that, this is from Muckraking Media. Elon Musk is now considered a special government employee and is not accepting a paycheck per the Associated Press. This is Canada agreeing to ensure that we have a secure northern border, according to Donald John Trump, and to finally ending the deadly scourge of drugs like fentanyl that have been pouring into our country, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans while destroying their families and communities all across the country. Canada will implement their $1.3 billion border plan, and as per Prime Minister Trudeau, will be reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners, and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel are and will be working on protecting the border. In addition, Canada is making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl czar. We will list cartels as terrorists, ensure 24/7 eyes on the border, launch a Canada-U.S. joint strike force to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and money laundering. I've also signed a new intelligence directive on organized crime and fentanyl, and we will be backing it with $200 million. As president, it is my responsibility to ensure the safety of all Americans, and I'm doing just that. I'm very pleased with this initial outcome, and the tariffs announced on Saturday will be paused for a 30-day period to see whether or not a final economic deal with Canada can be structured. Fairness for all. And that's well said, because he didn't drop the tariffs. He's pausing it for 30 days to see, are you going to live up to your end of the bargain? Trust but verify. Are you going to follow through with what you just said? Here's Justin Trudeau. To my freaking out liberal friends who watch way too much MSNBC and CNN, and they have too many stupid people around them telling them what they think the news is. From Justin Trudeau. I just had a good call with President Trump. Canada is implementing our $1.3 billion plan. Sorry, I'm trying to do my Trudeau voice. Reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners, and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel are and will be working on protecting the border. In addition, Canada is making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl czar. We will list cartels as terrorists, ensure 24/7 eyes on the border, launch a Canada-U.S. joint strike force to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and money laundering. I've also signed new intelligence directive on organized crime and fentanyl, and will be backing with $200 million. Proposed tariffs will be paused for at least 30 days while we work together. Look at that. Unusual Whales says the Trump administration denied an extension of deportation protections for almost 350,000 Venezuelan migrants, setting up the stage for their removal from the U.S. per Bloomberg. Austere Wyatt says U.S. aid is providing money to the CIA for coups to overthrow democratically elected leaders. How many? All of them. It is a legalized deep state dark money spigot. They have been writing checks for years without someone saying no. How much money has been laundered is beyond comprehension. Elon and Trump are coming at them unexpectedly. No warnings, no hearings. This is how you drain the swamp. Elon says career Treasury officials are breaking the law every hour of every day by approving payments that were fraudulent or do not match the funding laws passed by Congress, and this needs to stop now. H. Pearl Davis, smart men are not generally in church. Huh. Interesting how that got put in here. But then Muckraker says, Proverbs 21:19, it is better to live in a desert land than with a quarrelsome and fretful woman. J.D. Vance says, here's a memo to the press. When a president is elected by the people and then does what he's promised to do, that's democracy. When a president is thwarted by unelected bureaucrats, that's an oligarchy. President Trump refuses to bend the knee to that oligarchy. Buckle up. Ms. Muckraker says, here's a shrimp treadmill. How much did it cost taxpayers? A shrimp treadmill? Shrimp treadmill. $3 million over a decade, including $559,000 grant for research into impaired metabolism and performance in crustaceans exposed to bacteria. There's the Cubs coach just shaking his head. Yeah, happening now. This order to disperse has been issued by LAPD. LAPD police getting ready to stand off with a large crowd of anti-ICE deportation protesters, shared by Informed with Anthony. Yeah, it's time to box these people in and deport the people that are there illegally. Are you getting happy are you happy because we're winning? Here's Caroline Levitt. This is shared from Raging Americans. You want to know about some of President Trump's accomplishments and achievements from his first 2 weeks in office? Just absorb this for a second. Think of how desolate, how desperate, how deflated you felt at the end of Biden. Just please, can we get through this? Get him out of here. Oh my God, I hope we can survive this. Listen to what we've done in 2 weeks.
2 weeks in, and President Trump is already delivering big wins for the American people. Let's go through the facts. On the border, President Trump declared a national emergency, deployed the military, ended catch and release, and reinstated Remain in Mexico. And already, illegal crossings are down 95%.
Yeah, it's almost as if the Obama doctrine, Biden was just the third and most honest term of Barack Hussein Obama. It's almost as if the Obama doctrine was doing this border crisis on purpose to flood all the nations, not just the United States, but Canada, Ireland, Sweden, Great Britain. Pick your place on the map, mainly with non-residents of those countries, mainly from the Middle East and Africa. It's like Obama had this grand plan to change society, erase borders, erase culture, erase traditions, erase customs, and just homogenize into just this lumpy piece of clay. It's all just meh, everything's the same. No, cultures are different. Societies are different. Some are better than others.
We are resuming construction of the border wall, and Colombia's president is now offering his own plane for deportation of illegal Colombian immigrants.
Huge win.
On the economy and energy, President Trump unleashed American energy, declared a national energy emergency.
Yeah, and that means you got to fill up your national strategic oil reserves as well. I haven't seen a single post about that, but I hope that's part of it.
And killed Joe Biden's radical electric vehicle mandate. Wall Street is booming, AI investments skyrocketed to $500 billion, and there's $20 billion flowing into U.S. data centers across our country. President Trump is restoring law and order. He labeled the drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and he is deporting criminal illegal aliens, and he signed the Laken Riley Act into law. Draining the swamp, President Trump signed more than 45 executive orders. DEI has been purged from the government and our military, and lazy federal workers have been ordered back to the office. And when it comes to free speech and transparency, President Trump took 12 times more press questions than Joe Biden did in a week, reinstated 440 silenced journalists to the press room, and ended government censorship. Promises made, promises kept, and we're just getting started. We are 2 weeks in, and President Trump is already
pretty great. I mean, look, easy on the eyes, fantastic to listen to, great accomplishments. What a massive
14th Amendment.
Such an upgrade over Peppermint Patty and Karine Jean-Pierre. This is shared from Bannon's War Room. Mike Davis talking about birthright citizenship. Let's address this issue too.
The birthright citizenship part of the 14th Amendment was enacted to overturn the Supreme Court's decision in Dred Scott, right? Is to give freed slaves citizenship and children.
And in the middle, we kind of had a war about that, right?
Yes.
So kind of had a war.
That part's resolved, right? So we got that fixed. We have a Supreme Court case from about 100 years ago, Chinese exclusion case, where if you are a lawful permanent resident of the United States, you've shown loyalty to the United States and you intend to stay in the United States permanently, then your kids get birthright citizenship under this Supreme Court precedent. But the issue is that You do not have birthright citizenship for example, foreign ambassadors when they come to the United States and have kids. You do not have birthright citizenship if you are invading America. So if you have illegal immigrants invading the United States, why the hell should their kids get rewarded with birthright citizenship?
They should not.
Yep, they shouldn't, right? And that is important. Subject to the jurisdiction of the United States is part of the 14th Amendment. If you are an illegal immigrant who has invaded our country, for example, if you're a vicious Venezuelan gang member or you're a Mexican cartel member and you have a kid in the United States, should that kid have birthright citizenship? Hell no.
Hell no. And so just everything's moving in the right direction now. Very happy about it. Just a couple of quick points, and I'm going to wrap today's show up. 43 paragraphs into the New York Times' latest hit piece on Elon. The 6 byline reporters reveal the federal government lost $236 billion to fraud. Do you see what's happening here? This guy saying how dangerous you are. Yeah, it's dangerous when you start exposing things. Here's a direct quote about what's being exposed. The level of panic is unlike anything he's ever seen about the exposure of USAID. It's a killing blow to the heart of the Democrat deep state machine. Direct quote, "This is worse than 9/11 for Democrats. USAID is the primary vessel they use to achieve their political agenda. USAID is and always has been their primary source of funding for their influence peddling schemes and for their indirect sources of income. Look, we are actually getting somewhere. If Doge attacks USAID, then you can be sure they'll move on to attack another target tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe they'll be the Postal Service or the IRS or even the Social Security Administration. Hey, thanks for that, because I think what you just did is told us where we need to be looking." Here's the final thing I'm going to leave with you today. Something fun, something funny.
America's back, baby. Whoa. It's back, bro. America's back, dude. Can you feel it? Do you feel the America, dude? Yeah, man. I've never been more proud to be a USAian. Cool. Things are different now, bro. Daddy Trump says there's only 2 genders, dude. You're either gay or you're straight. That's not what Choose. Pick your favorite. Gulf of Mexico is the Gulf of America now. He's about to change Mount Everest to Mount Tom Brady. What? And the Great Wall of China is about to become the Great Wall of Freedom, bro. Okay. And if these other countries don't get in line, we're taking 25%. 25% of what? Of the country, bro. Either respect the U.S. or we get 25% of your country. It's called a tariff. You mean tariffs? And that's actually it's happening, bro. Whether you like it or not, it's happening. He signed the excessive orders. Okay. I'm just so tired of winning. Yeah, man. You know, like it's exhausting, bro. Like I'm winning too much. For sure. Say Merry Christmas, dude. What? Say Merry Christmas. Say it, bro. Why? Drink this raw milk and say Merry Christmas, dude. All right. Say Merry Christmas and drink this raw milk, Merry bro. Christmas, dude. Woo! Mel Gibson!
Oh, that was funny. I don't know if he's like bashing conservatives. Obviously, it's a comedic post, but that was kind of funny. I like that. I want to watch more stuff there. All right, I'm going to wrap today's show up. If you are new and you like the program and want to participate, you can go to patreon.com/thenewamericanmedia and you can sign up to make a monthly donation of $5, $15, $100, $1,000, or $10,000 a month. The more you give, the more we can expand. We're independent media. We're not paid by special interest groups to feed you bullshit propaganda, but that means that we can't do this without your support. So Patreon is a great way to do that. We're also on Venmo at my name. That's Brian, Brian, Engelman, Engelman, on Venmo at Brian Engelman. We're on PayPal at Fuzz Installment, F as in Frank, Fuzz Installment on PayPal. And we're on the Kash app at $ Brian Engelman, Brian Engelman. Follow us in all the places. Subscribe to all the things. We're going to wrap up the TNAM AM show. Alan was just saying he must have got ahead of himself a little bit on Tulsi. She needs a senator from Kansas to confirm her advancement, and saying the Pam Bondi vote is going on now. A lot of things happening. Probably by our 3:00 Eastern show, we'll be live again with TV's Blake Wally, and we might have some updates, some good updates, getting these people in place so that we can get to work. It's time to get to work on every avenue right now. So I'm going to sign out. Thank you all for joining us in the TNAM universe here at the New American Media, because the old American media failed you. Signing out on behalf of all of you. We appreciate you.